Hey everybody, welcome to Between the Lanes, episode 34. I'm Ralph.
And I'm Ron.
All right, this week we got some giveaways. We got a Pro 1000.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
No, we can't tell them? Okay.
A little bit later.
All right. We'll tell them
But we
later.
do have giveaways.
All right, a couple from different manufacturers. So before we get into that and all our show topics, do you want to go ahead and give us the scoop on the results?
Sure. The race results for last weekend, Easter weekend, as a matter of fact, 2018. So, winning report. So,
Winning.
at the Raceway Biz, Melbourne, Florida, that was the site of the GER, Gator Retro Racing Region Retro Race. And in the stock car class, Jay Gard was the winner, Terry Tawney second, and Doc Doherty third. Can-Am, it was Jay winning again with Doc second, Tony P in third. And F1 was Sean Naughton with Jay Gard second there and Doc in third in that race. So pretty good weekend for Jay Gard. And I think that was Sean Naughton's first ever retro win.
Oh, was it? Okay, cool. Congrats to him.
Congrats to him if it was. And then Retro East was at the race place in New Jersey. And stock car was won by Edsel. Brian X-Pro Cochran was second. And I'm kind of confused on who was actually third. Someone congratulated Keith Libby for his podium in stock car. But these results show him in fourth. But Jerry Herbert and him was on the same lap. So I'm going to go with Keith Libby was third and Jerry was fourth, and if I'm wrong, so be it. But and they also raced Can-Am, and Jerry Herbert was the winner there, and I believe Dom Luongo was second, and Matt Bruce was third. Again, second and third was on the same lap. So, and this definitely is an SRT system, so I don't know if you can correct that after the race to put actually who's actually was second or third, but. JPM Products Performance Series was at the track in South Bend, Indiana, and they raced Super Stock on the oval. And Austin Melchurska was the winner with Rick Stagan second, Dennis Clark third. Pony Stock was ran on the hill climb there, or the grandstand. And Austin again won. Dave Garino was second. And Dave, I'm back from Florida, Gearing was third. The Midwest Spec Series, which is a series that we really haven't talked about much on previous editions of Between the Lanes, but it's a little series pretty much based in central Illinois, and not sure about the chassis rules. I'm pretty sure they run ProSlot FK motors in these cars. But these
look cool.
Yeah, they're the dirt late model bodies from Outback Speedway.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I think they are styrene bodies, but I'm not 100% sure. But they look cool. So these would be the dirt late models. And in the dirt late model race, Ed Riddle was the winner with Randy Lynn second and John Payne third. And they also run a class called Bombers, which I believe are FCR chassis. And I think
they look like it.
7 Chevy body on the Bombers. But I see a couple of –
there's a couple that aren't, yeah.
Yeah, Mustang and a Camaro. But I think the Bombers look cool with those old 57 Chevy bodies on them. But
yeah, and they do look like FCR chassis too.
Yeah. So, and obviously ProTrack front and rear tires. So the winner in that was John Payne with Randy Lynn in second again, and Jeff Strauss was third. It was also their championship series race. And Ed Riddle – did you make the plaques for this?
I believe I did, yeah.
Okay, so I were they for just dirt late model?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember.
Okay, well, this was a picture of their top 5 in their championship, and Ed Riddle was first. I believe Dave Guyman was second. Randy Lynn was third, and I don't know who was fourth and fifth between John and Mark, but that's your top 5 points getters in the Midwest Spec Series in Illinois. Down at Hornsby Slot Car Raceway in Australia, they had the 2018 Australian Nats. And believe it or not, they ran those on a hill climb, not a king track.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I really don't know how many king tracks are actually in operation in Australia at this moment, but
Right.
don't really, again, very vague race results posted that I could find. But open was Rick first, Ben second, Stewart was third, 27 light. Rick was the winner again with Dave Fitz in second and Lee in third. One motor open, Ross was your winner, followed by Rick and Stewart. International 15 was Lee, Richard, and Rick. In the Wing 12 class, it was Jeff, Dave, and Chelsea was the top three in the Wing 12 class. Another cool thing that happened that weekend was the 2018 Russian Championship race. I don't read Russian, so it was hard to come up with names or something I could even come close to pronouncing. But this is one view of the track that they raced on in Russia, and there's a better view.
It's like a lot of young kids in there.
Well, and I'm not 100% sure if this race was only for kids or if adults were allowed to race. But in the before I get into that, they showed this picture of this. I looked at this for a couple seconds. I'm like, okay, but this is to check your rear clearance on your chassis. So you've got this aluminum, I don't know what I'd call that, aluminum piece that would touch the bottom of your chassis or whatever, and then it would show over on the dial indicator
your clearance.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool, actually.
That's pretty cool. I thought, well, this is kind of simple and easy, but I don't know how simple and easy it would be to make one, but it's definitely a cool way of checking clearance at the rear. So just some more tidbits. But at the race, in the production 24th class, they had 76 entries.
Wow.
And there's not 76 cars there, but that's some of them. Those were the top three cars in the production race. Kind of a sedan-y looking, not NASCAR type, but, like a production car type.
Yeah, like a Corvette or something like that, sort of.
Yeah, in this class, they ran stamped steel chassis and CCAN Group 12 motors. In the 132nd Euro F1 class, they had 70 entries. And in the Eurosport 24th class, actually this is a 32nd class. This is they had I think it was 68 entries, I think is what I seen. And actually that is the Eurosport 24th. So in that class they had 68. And then they had a kids only class that they had about, I counted 33 cars, but I think it was 33 or plus.
It's an interesting lead wire setup.
Yeah. Well, and they have to run this fiberglass chassis, which I thought was kind of cool and unique. And they run 16D motors with American arms in them. And like I said, it's a fiberglass chassis.
Go back and flip that thing over.
Sure, we can flip that back.
Looks like the motor is soldered to some screws that go up.
Okay, I'll flip over here because if you look right there.
Yeah.
Okay, there's the screws where the motor solders to at the front of the motor. And I guess they run a piece of piano wire for the back of the motor.
As the brace and to solder the motor in the rear. Okay.
Right. So, you can see that the nuts, bolts come up through the bottom.
It looks like it probably doesn't handle that well because there's a lot of weight on it.
Well, it's a flat track too. So.
But it also looks like they're running a real low downforce body from what I can tell.
Yeah, it's similar to like the Nissan LMP bodies. It's real close. Like if you're familiar with a Red Fox Nissan body, it's similar to that.
It looks like maybe an old school GTP car almost, like a real older style one.
Well, those were Nissan bodies, like the LMP Nissan. So
are they? Okay, it just looks
I should have probably
downforce.
got
Maybe it's just the angle of the picture.
right. So, like up here, I mean, you can see what you might think are bolts, but when you go to the bottom, there's no nuts. It's just like a rivet. And same
Yeah, it looks like they got their like a stud going through this, and they solder their pin mounts on them too.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know what the thinking is, making kids run a fiberglass car unless they make their own cars or something, or they buy a kit and have to assemble it. But and I don't know if this was a school sponsored thing or not, which there is some of that going on over there in Russia. So, but I mean, like I said, Eurosport, F1, 32nd F1 had 58 entries. That was the smallest class. And the production 24th, 76. That was the largest class. And 132nd Euro, they had 70, and Euro 24th, they had 68. So, I mean, it was good numbers by far. So, there you have it. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Yeah, not a real active weekend being Easter.
Correct. This is your cue.
Sunday.
Okay, so this Sunday we've got ORS. We got the NorCal Series, Northern California. You got Penn Jersey on Sunday at Speed Zone. I believe that's their championship race. Great Lakes Retro and Midwest Slot Car Series in South Bend, Indiana. Great Lakes ISRA, I believe, is at Chicagoland, but it could be at Mid-America. I'm not sure which. You got the Ohio Oval Series, Fast Tracks. You got the American Wamp Racing Association this weekend. You've got an FNRS warm-up race at Mark's Model World, being the races next weekend. And also at Speed Zone, they're having the Gaithersburg 1100 warm-up race. So, several races to keep an eye on over the weekend. And as we said earlier, we've got free stuff. And Mid-America, we're going to give away 2 more of the Mid-American Allen wrenches. And from Pro Slot, we're going to give away 1 of the new Scorpion FK motors. So
no, the seals are not included.
No, the seals are not included. That's just a promo picture that Pro Slot used on their Facebook page. So, for the early portion of the show, that's it.
That's it. All right. So, what do we got this week? Anything exciting?
Well, we're just a couple of weeks away from Division II Nats, Slot Car Raceway in Roanoke Park, California, and FNRS race next week in Mark's Model World. We'll both be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be a good turnout. And the April 15th, which will be, I guess, the Sunday, a week from this Sunday, will be the open of the signups for the Flexi Palooza race at Downriver. Okay. And I noticed the other day, too, that the OCC, the Ohio Challenge Cup Series, because they got their Enduro race coming up.
Enduro, yeah.
And they've decided to go with Pro Slot 4002 FK motors, geared 1036.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're an OCC racer, you may be hearing this for the first time, but it was posted on Facebook the other day.
Yes.
So, other than that, I mean, nothing really caught my eye.
Yeah, it was just a real quiet week, with Easter and everything. So
yes,
racing wise, and I haven't really even been on Facebook or Slot Blog or Old World Herald or anything, but I saw in Old World Herald that somebody was upset because they thought we were insulting Robert Hughes last week, but
cheap shot, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I mean that was not meant to be an insult to him at all. So if anybody took it that way, I apologize. It's just a topic of.
Well, the topic of was what's considered a number.
Yeah, it really had nothing to do with, I mean, we used him as a recent example, but it wasn't about
Right.
him specifically, you know. So
Right.
no hard feelings there. So
Yep. So,
all right, well, with the Nats coming up,
okay.
how did the Division II Nats start? I'll ask you since you're the USRA historian.
Well, I was kind of there.
Officially, the unelected official USRA historian.
There you go. Well, okay. So before Division II actually kind of started,
Mm-hmm.
as we've talked about before on the show, that USRA Nats traditionally, I mean, when it started, you know, the first USRA Nats, which really wasn't the first USRA Nats, but that's a topic for another time. Basically, they just raced one class, and that was Group 7 cars. But then there was a pro split and a semi-pro, or maybe an amateur split. And then down the road, they added Group 27.
Okay.
Years later, they added International 15. And then when we went to Detroit in 1986, this was about the time that J.P. Van Rossum was flying over top American pros to run over in Europe, like run Eurosport 32nd cars.
Right.
And Eurosport 24th actually wasn't even there yet. It was 32nd Eurosport. And production type flexi cars, but not really flexi cars we were using. So in 1986, when Andy Smith of Professor Motor fame today, when they had the Nats at his raceway in Detroit, Michigan area, they added a 1/32nd Eurosport race. And they ran it on an American black track. I don't remember which direction they ran that track in, because I wasn't even interested in what they were doing. I thought those cars were cool and everything, but I had no interest in them. I was there to race International 15 and took my lumps and went home. But anyway, so in 1987, the following year, they ran 1/32nd Eurosports, and I believe they may have ran 1/24th Eurosport. If they didn't run Eurosport 24th in 87, they ran it in 88. And then they also ran the flexi car race, and they ran the winged Group 12 car, which was a flexi chassis with a Group 12 motor and a winged full air control body. And that was kind of the base, or the beginning of the foundation of Division II, was those races, adding those classes earlier in the week.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in 88, they went out to Seattle, and they ran a 32nd scale race there. And I take that back. 1989 might have been the first year they ran 24th Eurosport at DJ's in Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
And we can get more into this in the next episode.
Now they made a wing car chassis or I-15 chassis one time, right?
Who, DJ's?
DJ's?
Yeah, he made products. I mean, he did ball bearings, and I think at one time he even had some cobalt magnets. I mean, he always had something. I know he made box stock chassis at one time.
Yeah.
And other stuff.
I think they were I-15s because they had wire on the side.
You know, that could have been too. I mean, like I said,
maybe he made both. I don't know. I just remember the.
Yeah, I mean, he'd been around a long time, and you know, he dilly-dallied and stuff. So in 1990, then when we went to, well, okay, so I want to back up. At the 87 Nats, that's when they voted to add the box stock 12 class to the USRA. So the wing classes going after 87 was. Or no, 86 is when they voted in box stock. So from 87 up until I don't know when, I mean, pretty much it was box stock and International 15 and 27 and semi-pro and Group 7. So, but in the meantime, like when we went to Atlanta in 1990, they added 32nd and 24th Eurosports, which was on the flat black track there in Atlanta.
Right.
And I don't believe we ran any flexi car classes at that race. Then we went to Florida in 91, Orlando, and we ran 24th and 24th and 32nd Eurosport in the reverse direction on an American Orange track.
Wow. Okay.
Okay? That was unique. And they ran a Wing 12 Flexi class on that Orange, but I think they ran it in the normal direction. And they also ran some type of Group 10 type Flexi class, I believe, again, in the normal direction on the Orange track. So that was in 91. So 92, when we went to Zeppelin, we ran Group 10, Womp Womps, the 2 Eurosport classes.
And this is all just like along with the wing car stuff, just like a fun race. Everyone said, "Oh, we'll have some fun races or something."
Well, I don't know. They were just like, we're going to add these classes, and they usually were ran.
Yeah,
you
weren't a national champion if you won them.
Yeah,
you're right.
So they were kind of like local option type deals.
And was the participation normally pretty good in them, or what?
Oh yeah, some of them years you'd have 30, 40 guys.
Wow, okay.
I think at Zeppelin we had 40 some Group 10 cars.
Oh wow.
So then 94 we went back to Atlanta and we had the race in the hotel, which they had the King track in one room and they had the
Yep.
I forget what that track was called, but anyway, it was set up in a separate room and we ran the 2 Eurosport classes on it. We ran a GTP class on it. We ran a 4-inch stock car handout motor race. We also ran 4.5-inch wheelbase stock cars on the King track, along with Pro Wire 12 and maybe one other class. So, your Nats has now went from 5 classes races to 10 or 12.
Yeah.
Well, when we went to the 95 Nats in Lugnut, that was like the biggest. That's been the biggest USRA Nats ever. There was, I think it was over 900 entries for the 11 days of racing.
Wow.
So we raced on 4 different tracks there because they had a flat track, which was like I don't know if we called it a UK Black, but it was pretty much a UK Black. And we ran GT12, the 2 Eurosport classes on that. Then there was, they called it a Windsor track, but it wasn't a Windsor like an American Windsor. I mean, kind of similar, bank on one end and bridge and up to Donut and down the straightaway. But
yeah,
we ran 4.5-inch on that. They ran 4-inch on that. I don't remember. It seems like there was a GTP race, and they would have ran it on that. Then they raced. There was a Womp Womp IROC race on that track. And then they had the King Cobra track, which they ran Pro Wire 12 and Cobalt 15 on. And then the King track, we ran the typical, box stock international.
Right.
But at that Nats meeting, it was proposed that the wing car Nats was for wing cars only. And they took a vote, and they voted out all the scale classes.
Who proposed that? You remember?
If I remember correctly, and again, not making anybody out to be a bad guy, I believe it was Paul. Pfeiffer. I believe it was Paul Pfeiffer.
Me neither. I was just curious.
And the thing was, his whole thing was, and I agree with him, we're there to race wing cars.
Yeah, it's probably taken away from it.
And it was taken away from that. Plus, if you started on Friday the week before, and all these races are running around the clock, day after day after day after day.
Yeah, a lot of hours.
By the time the Group 7 race came along, race directors are worn out. Everyone's just worn out. Not so much the racers, but all the support personnel are worn out. And they don't give a damn, and it's just so.
So at Lugnuts, Paul Pfeiffer, we think, was like, all right,
it's time to make the wing car Nats the wing car Nats only.
So then somebody proposed at the same time, saying, well, let's call.
Okay, there was no proposal.
Okay.
There was no proposal to start Division II or to have a separate Nats. Okay, so like all those rules for those classes was in the rule book. So they were technically USRA classes, but they're not allowed to race at the traditional Nats week. And I was the national director, and I decided, you know what, we're going to have a Division II Nats, and we'll have it in May. So the first year, because, after we got home from the Nats, people were calling me like, okay, what are we going to do with these other classes? Because we get big turnouts. People want to run them. They want to run for a national championship. So after a week or so, it was like, you know what, we'll just start a new division, and we'll have a separate Nats for them. And it's been that way ever since.
Now, at this time, were they faxing you, or are they calling, or
calling and faxing? Yeah.
Okay.
Because I can tell you, in 1996, I don't even know if I had an email address in 1996.
Yeah.
It was sometime in that time frame that I got online, or got an email address, but.
Yeah, I don't remember if I did. I don't know. I remember about 1996 as it was the Atlanta Olympics. That's all I really remember.
Sure. So between the fax machine and the AOL internet dial-up.
Bing, bing, bing. I can't connect. Somebody must have called.
Yeah. Goodbye. So, we had the first Division II Nats at JK Raceway because there was nothing. We had no provision to vote to where the Nats was going to go.
So what was the first Division II Nats? What were the official classes?
They were Junior Group 10, Group 10, Pro Group 10, 4.5-inch stock car, GTP, GT12, and Eurosport 24th. Because we didn't want to make a week-long event, okay? So
right,
let's run these. Group 10 was really one class, but it was just divided by Pro and Junior, and the others ran.
And I hadn't run GT12 car forever.
Yeah. So, it was put to Jerry, okay, here's 7 classes that's in a rule book. Pick 5.
Okay.
And those were the 5 classes he picked because he felt those would be the best turnout. So, we ran 201 entries in 3 days. We started on Friday. We finished on Sunday evening. We didn't run around the clock 24 hours.
That's 140 entries a day.
No, 201 entries.
I was just giving you some hillbilly math. Sorry.
Oh, okay. You got your shoes or socks on? So anyway, I don't really remember what was the largest class, but 5 class. That's an average of 40 a class. 200 entries, 5 classes.
So was Group 10 Junior, Group 10, and Group 10 Pro all considered one class, or would that have been 3?
We ran as 3 classes.
Okay.
And I think there was 70 total Group 10 entries between those 3 classes.
Right.
And we'll have more on this starting next week. We're going to go next couple weeks. We'll go through the history leading up to 2018 USRA scale Nats.
I remember when I attended my first USRA Nats. I had thought they'd been going on for 30 years. I had no idea. I was like, the Nats had literally just started. I was blown away when I found that out.
And I'll even back up because, in 1983, which was the first Nats I went to, it was 82 Nats. It was 82, I'm sure. Yeah, 82 was the Nats at Centerville Raceway in Ohio, and they raced Womps on an American Black there.
Long live the Womps.
Yeah. Well, that's when Womps was – that was before the Flexi car. There was no Flexi car. Womps was –
cutting edge.
Womps was big in that area in Ohio for sure. There was a couple of series there, and they ran them, and they were quite popular. But we went there, and we ate it pretty good at that Nats. And but that's, I think, prior to 1980 – 86 at Andy's. That might have been the first and only Nats that ran a different class in wing cars at their Nats.
Right.
So, Not that that started anything, but the Eurosport thing definitely got things going. I mean, basically they've run Eurosport 32nd at every USRA Nats, whether it's Division One or Division Two, since 1986, except for 1996, the first year, because Jerry chose GT12 over 32nd Eurosport.
Right.
So in the 1997, we went to California. I mean, so at the 96 Division II Nats, we voted and we set up Division II as, we vote to pick where the Nats are. Raceways have to bid, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And so in 97, 96, both the wing and the scale Nats was at Jerry's. In 97, wing cars were in California, or scale cars were in California, and wing cars were in New Hampshire. Yeah.
Where in New Hampshire?
In a hotel.
Okay. I don't remember that.
Yeah, that was
really. I don't even think you hear about that very much.
Yeah, I can't remember really the name of the town. I'll have to look it up. But the wing car Nats went to New Hampshire, and it was in a Holiday Inn hotel that we raced in, and they had 2 king tracks in there.
Like, do they even have any tracks in New Hampshire anymore?
I think there's 1 or 2. Are you looking it up?
I will. I will look it up.
Okay.
Hold on. I got my stat guy on this.
Hello. So anyway,
I don't see any listed in the Slot Blog race directory.
Okay.
But I mean, not saying there's not. There could be some for sure.
Okay. Well, I thought one of those. Well, it could be a club track. Isn't one of those groups that run the little not dirt modifieds, but the asphalt modified, NASCAR modifieds? Isn't there a group of them guys in New Hampshire?
Yeah, I don't know. There's so many of those little groups now. I don't remember.
Well,
I'm sure there's some kind of club or something. There's
there's some racing.
24 scale commercial raceway.
Well, anyway, the 97 hosts of the wing car Nats, they had a raceway.
Mm-hmm.
And then they moved the track to a hotel, their king track. And Ogilvy brought in another king track, which we ran box stock on at that race. And all the other classes were ran on the king track that had been at the raceway.
Okay.
And then in 98, the Division II Nats went back to Newark, Ohio. And the wing car Nats was at RGO in Butler, Pennsylvania. So if memory serves me correct, I don't think ever since the first Division II Nats, the scale and wing Nats have been at the same raceway in the same year.
Not that I can remember.
Yeah. So, but there's been a few raceways that have hosted both, but not both in the same year since the first year.
Right. Maybe they've done it back-to-back years consecutive, but not the same.
Right. So, well, like I said, we'll go into more detailed history over the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
We'll look at each Nats, and we'll go back in history. Way back time machine.
Way back time machine.
Yeah, because this is like Frank Sarkella's or Sarkla.
Man, he's had a couple Nats.
This is his 3rd Division II Nats, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, you want to do the giveaways real quick?
We can do the giveaways. What do you want to give away first?
How about we'll do 1 tire wrench, the motor, then the next tire wrench.
Okay, for the first Allen wrench, Rick Bernardo Jr.
Rick Bernardo, contact Roger Schmidt to pick up your wrench.
Yes. And this next winner will contact John Miller at Pro Slot. I think I got 2 names here, but...
Oh, boy.
Well, I got a Band-Aid on my thumb. I got a boo-boo. All right. Charles Neal.
Okay.
Charles Neal wins the Pro Slot motor.
Contact John Miller and Pro Slot for your winnings.
And the last Allen wrench goes to Eric Shirey.
Eric Shirey. I know he'll be calling.
He's a weekly
He'll probably call tonight.
He's a weekly viewer.
He's probably going to pause the show.
He's probably going to jump up and down or be, Alan Wrench.
Eric, I saw, is also the newly appointed OCC Tech Director.
That is what I seen. Yeah, because when they made the announcement about that motor being used, that was the official Eric Shirey, OCC Technical Director. About time he got involved in politics. And this is the Scorpion motor. Okay. So I will forward those to Roger and John. And speaking of politics, not that I want to talk about politics, but with the recent talk of tariffs with China, if that all goes into effect, pretty much everything we use in slot car racing that comes from China will be tariffed at an increase of 25%. So motors, I guess chassis. It'll affect 32nd scale market, more than a 24 scale market per se, because all those Homeset cars are made in China. So they will be hit with a tariff. Now, I guess if I'll say, for example, Scale Electrics is made in China, but it gets shipped to England, and then it gets shipped everywhere else. So that may not be affected by the tariffs because it's not coming direct in from China. But all of our low end motors are going to be affected. Possibly. Yeah. If this goes through.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I'm not going to get into the politics.
Well, I'm not getting into the politics, but it's just a fact that this may happen.
Yeah.
That our stuff will be going up in price, and I hope that I don't know.
Well, all right. That aside, I was going to ask you, and I hadn't seen. Any idea where Dallas Slot Cars is moving to and when they'll be open again?
I talked to Chantel a couple days ago, and the plan is to be racing by the end of this month. Okay. So, I mean, the building's been acquired, the lease has been signed, the city is approved. They're doing some electrical work and, getting a building, I don't know what was in it before, into more of a raceway. So,
is it in the same area or town or someplace different?
That's a good question. It is somewhere different. I don't know how much farther it is away from the old location. But the new location is more accessible to more restaurants and more things than the old location was. I didn't think the old location was bad, but the new location, I guess, more hotels, more places to eat, and closer proximity to the raceway. So
okay, cool.
Things are looking good. I mean, she does have a building, and
hopefully they get all that going.
She wants to be up and running. So, and then PA Watson is now out of the mall or close to being out of the mall. And from what I've read, he's maybe found a location but hasn't signed a lease. So he's trying to reopen too somewhere else.
Right.
And then the raceway.
That's good that they both want to reopen.
Yeah.
So just go under or quit or whatever.
Right. And then the raceway in South Africa, which we'll probably have more information next week. Their grand opening is this weekend too.
Yeah, I can't wait to see some of the pictures from there.
Right.
It's super nice.
Yep. And it was posted on Facebook the other day that the raceway Slots of Fun in Michigan closed. And see, okay, so that's another topic, but in the post it said the tracks have been sold and they're going to Kalamazoo, Michigan. So, and someone else posted, well, that's the Gobles or Gables area of Michigan. I don't know if it's the same. There's already a track in Gables, but I don't think that building's big enough to hold that hill climb and the other track that was at the raceway that just closed down. It's lots of fun. So, but here's the topic.
Looks like it was Slot Car Inc. was in Gobles.
Well, that's what's in Gobles now.
Yeah, it looks like they got a flat track.
They have a flat track and a drag strip.
Yeah, quarter mile. Yep.
And if you look at their pictures, I don't think. Yeah, if you look at their pictures, I don't think they can fit any more tracks in that space they're in now.
Yeah, it looks pretty maxed out. Yeah.
Okay. So I want to believe that maybe we're going to have another new raceway open in Kalamazoo.
Okay.
With these two, with this flat track and the hill climb. But my point is, I don't know where this raceway was actually located in Michigan, but it's a raceway that I wasn't very familiar with, and I want to say, like, I didn't even know it was there. So my point is, raceways, I've always said this, I mean, you need to do everything you can to expose yourself.
Right.
Do whatever channels, and if preferably free, cheap channels are best. So if you have a raceway and you got a Facebook page, you need to, I don't care what you post on it, just post something on there every day or something, and people in your area may pick that up in their local news feeds and find out about you. Or you can promote your business for $5 or $10,
right,
with certain zip codes and age groups, and when they go on Facebook, that'll show up in their news feed, and it might drive some people into your raceways.
Right.
And it's not that expensive.
No, I mean,
I've never done that on Facebook. Now, you've done it a few times, but
what's that? Promote something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And?
I mean, like, are you asking, does it work, or how it works, or?
No, did it work for you? I mean, I don't really see it working for me.
I mean, it's hard to tell.
Right.
You really don't know.
Now, my restaurant, my neighbor restaurant, they did it one time, and they're getting ready to do it again because it definitely drove people in to the restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, if you're like a store or a walk-in business where somebody can, like, print out a coupon that's only on that promotion, like, it's probably a lot easier to keep track of if it works or not,
Right. But I think if you're in a big city like, say, Chicago, okay, and you've got 1 million people, and you can spend $18 and reach 50,000 people within one or two zip codes, what have you got to lose? Because everybody that's on Facebook and knows that zip code, that's your thing is going to come up on their news feed.
Yeah, I went to this Brazilian steakhouse one night, and this place, it's like $100 a plate, but it's like, man, it's like the best food ever, Yeah. And I walk in, and there's just like this line out the door, and I'm like, oh boy, maybe we'll go someplace else. And the lady's like, she goes, okay, if you got the Groupon special, come over and on the left. And I pull out my phone. I'm like, well, let me go on the line on the left real quick.
I got the Groupon.
Yeah, they're advertising their Groupon special, before they seat you, and I pull it up, and got like half off, so it was great.
There you go.
But yeah, I mean, it's.
And the Groupon's another thing.
Facebook promotion is hard. It's hard to tell.
Right. And I know Groupon has done well for certain raceways, or raceways have done well with Groupon.
Right. Again, you walk in business like that, you can definitely. That stuff definitely works.
Right. So
it's like because not that long ago when you were a raceway and you're like, okay, how do I promote? Well, you either had to like buy an ad in the local newspaper or buy a radio spot on the TV or radio,
Right.
So it's like, I mean, just the options are just
social media.
Limited options now, but
well,
I think a lot of our track owners, not all of them, I mean, but I think there's a lot of them that are kind of maybe in their 50s or 60s or 70s, and they're kind of stuck in that way of doing things, so to speak,
Right.
And I think that's why a lot of them probably never join Facebook or never post on Facebook if somebody joins for them or whatnot,
Right.
So.
But no, it's really cool. I mean, of course, I'm a slot car racer and I'm a manufacturer, so I have a vested interest in. But it's really cool on Facebook. I mean, because I've liked a lot of raceways and a lot of slot racing pages, but I mean, it's just like never-ending news on there.
Right.
Or information that just comes to you free. I mean, you see so much stuff that you never see posted on blog sites. And, you know, that's the thing, too. I mean, most raceways, or a large percentage, I think, have their own web pages or websites. But,
Right.
You know, first of all, you got to know you got to know about the raceways, and then find their website, and then how do you?
Right. It's like just
look at their website every day
doesn't mean somebody's going to find it. You
Right.
know.
Right.
You got to have something driving them to the website.
Right.
And most tracks with websites, I guarantee you 90% of them are outdated.
Yes.
So.
Right.
Especially the people who aren't selling parts, you know, stuff like that.
Right. And they're not updating them with current news.
Right.
You know, like when, I mean, for example, like Justin Porter there in Elyria, Ohio, there at the raceway.
Yeah. Haven.
He posts up his weekly, he posts up the weekly results on Facebook.
Yeah, you know, I mean, even if there's like two guys.
Right.
I mean, he puts it up, which is great.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same thing with, like I said earlier in the show, Dave's back from Florida, Dave Gearing from Thaser. So the raceway's been closed since, I guess, the first week of January. And they opened, last night was the first night racing since January. And, they had the rental car race and the results were up. And it's like, okay, Dave's open. I mean, cool, but if it hadn't been for that, I may not know that Dave – I knew Dave was back. But if that hadn't happened and Dave hadn't called me a week ago and said he was back, then I would still assume he was closed.
Right.
So, like I said, every day, it's just like I know that the grand opening for the raceway in South Africa is this weekend because it came up my news feed today.
Right.
So, it's just one of those, but I knew that was coming from previous stuff. But yeah, I mean, you got to use Facebook and promote your stuff.
Well, and even if your local raceway doesn't do it, get in there and try to help them. Offer to give them a hand to start a page or show them how to use Facebook or something. I mean, everything counts. Every little bit helps to keep a raceway open,
And I know there's days that you promote, and nobody comes in the door, and it gets depressing and all that, but you can't stop.
Yeah.
Especially when it's free. You got to keep putting it up.
Yeah, I agree.
Keep people informed. Let them know you're still there. Let them know you're open for them, and see what happens.
Yeah. So I remember, like, my local raceway, I mean, they didn't have PayPal. They would get me to –
Right.
Like, when they wanted stuff from you, like, they'd pay me and then I'd pay you. And it's like, they didn't have, like, a website. They didn't have PayPal. And they didn't have anything. They didn't even have a Facebook page for, like, 13 years or something. I don't know. They stayed in business for 16 years doing it the old school way, but
Sure.
But I can't imagine how much better it would have been
had they done it earlier.
Right, if they'd have really got into it and tried to get into the technology and social media,
Right.
You'd have to wonder if maybe they'd still be open.
Right.
Or
could have been more profitable when they were open, too.
Right.
I mean, some raceways just close. I mean, a lot of raceways do make a profit. I'm not going to say a huge profit, but a lot of raceways that are making profit do close. Maybe because they're not making enough profit, or maybe because they lost their lease or whatever. But it's not like when a raceway closes because, he was broke or he was out of money. Yeah, that happens some cases, but not every case. So you got to try and make as much profit as you can while you're there.
Yeah, I saw that Slots a Lot in New York, it was for sale.
It's for sale.
And I saw that maybe they have a potential buyer. They've agreed to stay open an extended period of time to
Right.
the potential buyer that it's profitable or the
Well,
new or whatnot. So
see
that's
that okay, okay. For example, now I don't know, like when they made the announcement the raceway was they were going to close, but the raceway was for sale. I don't know if you read the comments, but there was a whole lot of people that made comments that like, oh no, I can't believe you're closing. We just found the place. And
same story.
right,
Everywhere.
these people weren't like slot car racers. Okay, they were your casual. Maybe mom takes Junior down to run some laps or whatever. But it was they had some support there. So obviously they were doing something to keep people informed that they were open. So I don't know that they had a Facebook page or not. I mean,
and I think that a lot of raceways think that like they count on like this one big race a year or two big races a year as like their big ticket or saving grace. Like they say, oh, we're gonna have the Nats, we're gonna be saved for the year or something. You know what I mean?
right.
But it's really, I mean, that's if you have to depend on one big race, that's probably not good.
No. But if one big race pays your bills for the year, pays your overhead, let's say.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the year you should be profitable.
Yeah, but that's chances of that happening are like slim to none.
Well, I know. Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Right.
It's good to have races, but you got to explore all the other avenues.
Well, you gotta think the entertainment center part of it. Birthday parties and maybe corporate parties or it's entertainment. Not everybody that walks through your door wants to become a slot car racer, like me and Ralph. They just want to come in and have fun. That's why I always tell raceways to have the rental car races. Guys can come in off the street, pay $20, they hook up and they run 8 2-minute heats and they're done. They don't want to work on stuff. They don't want to buy stuff. But if you had 30, 40 guys coming in a week doing that at $10 a head, cha-ching in a month's time.
Right. Yeah, and you mentioned tracks in Chicago. I mean, both tracks in Chicago do a great job at birthday parties and rentals. Probably some of the best, maybe two of the best tracks in the country at birthday parties, really, from what I've seen.
Elmsford Raceway for years,
was
their big thing. So, people say, well, Elmsford Raceway's out of business. Well, yeah, I mean, after you've been in business 50 years, the owner's got to retire at some point. And I don't know if that was ever offered as a turnkey for sale business or not.
I don't know if it was or not either.
The decision was we're closing it down, we're done, we've had it, and it's over. But that's a business that probably had really good books that you could have sold to somebody. So, don't know.
Anyway,
each different and separate.
Yeah. So, all right. You got anything else this week?
I got nothing else.
Okay.
We'll give away the farm and it's race time now. Go racing.
You racing this week anywhere?
South Bend for the Great Lake.
Okay, that's right.
Race.
Okay.
Then get ready for the FNRS at Mark's Model World.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be curious to see how the warm-up race results.
Yeah, I think having that a week before the big event, I don't think that's going to be huge. But we'll see.
Yeah, the locals will be there, and they're always tough to beat, so it'll be like kind of a good gauge still.
Right. So
maybe back-to-back weekends. I mean, I don't know what their schedule was, but
right.
I don't know if they could avoid it or not, but.
And then the day after the FNRS race is the
wing car race.
Group F Wing Car World Championship race.
World Championship race,
which this will be, I think, the fourth year that 4th or 5th year for that race at Marks.
Yeah.
So that'll be on Sunday, the day after FNRS. Get your Group F car ready, Ralph? I'll take it as a no.
I'm going to have to go find that.
Okay.
All right. Well, what's the secret word of the show?
Secret word of the show. I hadn't really thought about that either.
You know it's coming every week.
Okay, because I forgot to announce. Did I announce this or not? But also this weekend is the Coford Championship Wing Car Race at Coford Racing.
Yeah, no, we did not talk about that, but I saw it on Facebook.
Winchester, Ohio. So that's actually at Coford's facility. He has a raceway there at the facility, King Track, Girding King Track, and they've got a big race scheduled this weekend, and it's called the Coford Championship. So in honor of that, we'll just say Coford is the secret word.
Okay, that works for me.
That was on my list.
Now we're going to get all those letters from every other manufacturer. Why don't you make my company your secret word of the show?
Well, I could use a lot of words for names for secret words, but we'll just go with Coford.
All right.
So that's all I got. Everybody's going racing, have fun, and be safe.
To Coford World Championship.
Yeah.
World Champions.
No, Coford Championship.
Coford.
Not world, not national, just.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking of the Marks Race World Championship.
The Coford Cup.
There you go. Is Cup with a KUP since Coford starts with a K?
Sure, the KK.
There you go.
But I was going to say something I don't remember. Oh, I know what I was going to say. So we'll see you next Wednesday or next Thursday. You'll probably see us next Wednesday because.
Oh, you're talking about the show? Okay.
Yeah. Because Thursday's not going to work.
Probably Wednesday.
So clear your calendar, Ralph. We got to do the show Monday or Tuesday.
I'm trying. I'll try.
I'm not saying you're the. I'm just saying.
Depends if my painter's here painting.
Yeah, Ralph's studio's getting a makeover.
Yeah. All the big bucks we're raking in from this show.
The executive offices are getting made over.
Yeah, well, don't worry. I didn't get my check this month, but I'm not going to go crazy like that lady out there in California. So
you're not going to come shoot up the place?
No. So,
oh, well.
All right, that's probably enough for the show. So.
That's enough. That's a wrap.
All right, see you guys.
See you next week.
See you guys next week.